Hey guys, sorry this video is coming to you a little late. It's been a really hectic week. Anyways, right off the bat, like from the start with Aramis's case, tasing him that many times was just crazy. My first thought hearing that was, damn, was due process out the window, kicking him in the head, like all of this over a blunt. Like, let's take a step back. Like, I think it was a lot. Um, it also left him with permanent marks, like all over, which was insane. Then he was charged with drug abuse, resisting arrest, theft, and criminal damage. Theft and criminal damage, I think, was literally just the row on top. Like, it was kind of like a cherry on top situation. It was like, was that really necessary? I don't think so. I think the whole idea of Paul wanting Aramis to appear like he just wants to get this over with so that like the city doesn't know that they're suing the city was, I wasn't expecting that. Like, that's not something you'd hear about because they don't really talk about that, but I thought that was really cool. The 137 case being brought up was also really interesting because it really showed that this area of Ohio had been they've been through this before. And the Rice case, like they've been through this times and over again. Like, this is not a one every couple of months situation. This is like a reoccurring issue, which then leads to the end of the very podcast where the same police officer was beating the crap out of a black guy. Like, this is a reoccurring problem that hasn't been addressed the right way, which then leads me to the next point was Paul's goal was to force the police to take accountability for their behavior and for the city and them to take up the accountability, but it doesn't happen. They just get really defensive and lawyer up, which I think is so interesting because in like the criminal justice process, we want all of the defendants to take accountability. Like, that's what it's about. Like, it's about accountability. We hold people to the standard of taking accountability. If you're a police officer, if you're working for the city, shouldn't you lead by example? Because if your own police officers are not taking accountability, how are you supposed to know you're supposed to take accountability? Like, that kind of just makes it feel like a double standard, and I think that's like really funny. My next point was them trying to get the journalists out of the courtroom and to not record the case was really crazy to me because then later on, which I was like, how are you still going to do with this knowing that the case is being recorded? Was them butchering stuff about the bulge that the police officer allegedly felt. I was like, you knew this case is being recorded and you pulled something out of your ass? Like, that just felt so crazy to me. It was like, you knew it was being recorded and you were like, oh yeah, like, I'm just gonna lie. I'm just gonna pull this out of nowhere. This was not in testimony. Then I thought it was also interesting that the judge agreed that she heard it. I think it's a she. I think she was a she. I don't remember. But I think it was interesting that the judge agreed, which then showed me that the criminal justice, like, procedure is on the side of themselves. They're on their own sides. They're not for the people. They are gonna hold, like, they're gonna protect their own. Like, it's them against us kind of thing, where they're gonna trust the cops and they're gonna trust their people and not us, which is just kind of, it's disappointing and it's really sad and it's like been a problem for a long time and I don't really think it's being fixed. It sucks, but I also just thought it's bringing up the issue of like unfairness. Like, the judge was just, this was not a fair trial in my opinion. My last point before I end the video, I actually have 2 points. I wrote down the word waistband because I thought it was really interesting that they used the word waistband as though it's like a magical word, because if you hear that by somebody when you're on the stand, you're like, oh crap, this guy had a weapon. Even though the weapon might have not been seen, it raises the suspicion that this person might have had a weapon if they're reaching for their waistband in the middle of an altercation, which I think is really interesting. My last point is that they said what would happen when everybody, hold on, let me quote it directly, just you wait. They said, what happens to a case then when everyone's paying attention? And I thought that was really interesting because in Aramis's case, it wasn't as popularized. Not everybody saw it because nothing was recorded, nothing was posted on the internet. But when a video is posted on the net of a white police officer beating the crap out of a black man, that is something that gets the internet talking. Especially in this day and age, I feel like we have a strong cancel culture, which I don't think it applies to criminal justice system, obviously, because cancel culture is a social media concept. But social media really likes accountability. They really like to hold everybody and their mothers accountable. And I think when stuff like that gets posted on social media, it gains more attention, and the criminal justice system starts working in favor for the people, and they will start taking down their own to save each other. Like, they will start bringing down the people in their own little cliques and their own little niches for the sake of saving each other. And I think that's just how it is. But that's my thoughts on this episode. I'm excited to see the next one. Yeah. See you guys.